But at some point in my career, I dealt with some very traumatic experiences, because as a police officer, your days are never the same. And in those 7.5 years that I worked there, I could say that I've cycled through the entire emotional spectrum with myself, and the entire emotional spectrum with the people that I would deal with on a daily basis. To sketch a day and the extremities within a day of a police officer in Amsterdam, in the morning you could receive a call and you arrive and there's a situation and you save someone's life. That's a really amazing feeling. The family comes, they thank you, and it's amazing, you feel like euphoric. And then you have a coffee break. And then after the coffee break, you receive another call. You end up at a traffic accident and somebody died. And you have to deal with that. And then you have to go and tell a parent that their child is never going to come home again. And you have to deal with that. And after that, you go to lunch. And then you have your afternoon, and then you go home. And you have dinner with your girlfriend. So that's kind of the day, and that's not even an extreme day. This is just what a day looks like. So you deal with a lot of people in different emotional states. Sometimes they're in a state of rage, and sometimes they're in a state of euphoria. And that really helped shape, I think, my personality and my interest in people and why we do certain things that we do. During this traumatic experience that changed my vision on what it meant to be a police officer, actually what it meant to be a person, I decided to quit my job and explore different territory. I'll share very briefly on the experience. One night during a night shift, we received a phone call that there was a man in the street who threatened to kill a woman. So I arrive in my police car with my partner. We get out of the car. In the end of the street, I see a gentleman. We walk towards him. It's dark, it's early in the morning. He pretends that he's doing something to a bicycle. And as we approach him, he pulls out a knife that is about this big. And in this moment, there was not so much distance between us. We take a step back, I pull out my gun, and I tell him to drop the knife. And he doesn't drop the knife. Instead, he jumps towards my colleague with the knife. So I start pulling the trigger of my gun. And in the moment that I expect for my gun to fire, he actually drops down to the floor. So I release my trigger, I literally see the hammer go back, and I put my gun away and I arrest him. I went home after the arrest and I couldn't sleep. I went back to the police station and asked if I could spend some private moments with this person, because I had a few questions. I walked into the room and the man was sitting, looking down to the floor, and he had tears in his eyes. And I asked him, "Do you realize that I almost killed you a few hours ago?" He told me, "I do, and I thank you for not pulling that trigger." I told him I just had one question. Why? What were you doing out there? What moved you to do something like this? And then he explained to me that 3 months before that, his wife told him that she did not love him anymore, and that she did not want to be with him anymore. And he hadn't seen it coming. He didn't understand why. She also told him that she didn't want him to see the kids anymore, and that she just wanted him to leave the house. So they had a fight and he left. He went to visit a lawyer and fought her in court for 2 months, after which he lost custody of the daughters that he has such a super close connection with. And she received full custody. He was not allowed to see his daughters anymore. So he started to be very frustrated and depressed, and started drinking. And the night of the incident, he was drinking in a bar. As a friend walked in and asked him, "Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. Really, really bad. What's going on in your life?" And he explained his friend the story. After which the friend responded, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I actually saw your ex-wife today in the supermarket. And she was with your friend, what's his name again? And they looked like they were a couple, and he was carrying your daughter on his arm." So in this moment he realized that his wife had actually left him because she fell in love with one of his friends. And this snapped something in him. He went home, had a few more drinks, took a big knife and wanted to make a statement. And he told me that he was never planning to actually kill that woman. But he was actually trying in a desperate attempt to show her how much pain he was experiencing. And he was actually hoping that I would do the job for him. But he thanked me that I didn't do it. And that really touched me on a very, very deep level. Because looking in this man's eyes, I realized that I was looking at another human being, just like myself. A human being that has feelings and emotions. A human being that can be driven and pushed towards a certain situation. What is happiness? The actual, what is happiness? No, just what is it in general? Is it something that, what is happiness?
Happiness, for me, it's very important to start my happiness inside me. I think when I feel happy with me,
okay.
First step.
And then what how would you describe that? If you achieve that?
When I'm pleased with myself, what I do, what I am, what I have done with my life.
Okay.
So when I start thinking about that, then I can share that, first of all, with my family,
Yes.
which really makes me happy.
Yes.
I can transmit that feeling
Yes.
to my family and to the circle where I can share.
Exactly. You say transmit that feeling.
Yes.
So would you say happiness is a feeling?
Yes.
Okay. Would we agree happiness is a feeling? Okay, so that's step number one. Happiness. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. Now, what does it feel like? What does happiness feel like? Could you describe the feeling?
It's very difficult.
Well, just try.
Well, it's what I have just said.
What's the feeling? Like,
Feels wonderful.
wonderful. So it's a wonderful feeling. Okay. It's a wonderful feeling. So how would you describe the feeling of happiness? Content.
No, connected.
Or connected.
In yourself.
Connected to your inner self.
Everybody exists in yourself.
Okay. I like that a lot. To be connected to your inner self. Sir, could you describe the feeling of happiness? It's a state. But what does that state feel like? Soft. Soft. Maybe just, let's get some more words. What does happiness feel like? Bienestar interior. Satisfaction. Satisfaction. ¿Qué más? Plenitud. Flow. Flow. So tranquilidad. Okay, so we have a bunch of really amazing words here. So I asked this question to a lot of different people. And these are just a couple of words that sum up, some of those feelings. The flow, where you just feel the vibe and the energy in this entire room change. This is what you were meant to do. You were meant to connect. and you're going to experience it here in a very powerful way. So please, everybody get up.